Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adrian Brewer, and tonight I represent Cowes Isle of Wight. I know that many of the Rotarians in this room have actually been to the Cowes. You never met me because I was never there. I'm one of those people that only turns up on Thursdays. I've been lucky enough to join a club which is quite active. I've only been there in the club about a year, and only a full member for about 4 or 5 months. It took a while to induct me because I wasn't there. We are quite an active club, but we're kind of inactive as well. We've been very active over the last few years, but recently our events and things are constrained to supporting mainly local charities, which are Mountbatten Hospice, which I'm sure you've all heard of. We support the air ambulance. We contribute somewhat to Help the Heroes. We have a number of youth projects. Our main one this year is the Helen MacArthur Trust, and where we participate in assisting Frank, who's the project leader there, in presenting the trust to other places. We also work with local schools. We do a thing which is Youth Speaks, where we teach children to be articulate and eloquent. And amazing that has been incredible. Some of these children, 7 and 8 years old, are considerably more articulate and eloquent than I am. So they are to be applauded, and that's not just because we support them, it's because they have an inherent talent. We also support projects for adults with learning difficulties, and that's an ongoing situation. We have a problem, as most councils have, with not being able to provide funds. So we are, us and other Rotary clubs are supplementing them. And we also have a thing called Seniors Out, which will take elderly people, more elderly than us, out for lunch once a year. Internationally, we respond, obviously, to contribute to water aid. We contribute to shelter box when there is a disaster, or humanitarian or natural. We hope there won't be any. We kind of hope that Tom will end up with thousands of shelter boxes down at Helston that he doesn't need, but the life says he will. So, we also like to contribute to the Wheelchairs Foundation, and we've become quite active in that. And we have another thing on the Isle of Wight, which is where we raise just a bit of money and we send it in just for the one wheelchair, almost putting our name on it. Our main focus this year is on an exchange scheme with La Rochelle, which is our sister club in France, and we have an exchange system. They're coming here this year. We entertain them, we look after them and whatever, and we go over there biannually. And we also have a project with them which is going to be taking off in Africa. It's on hold at the moment because of the Future Vision, which I'm sure you all know about, and there are some issues with Future Vision, so that it does look as though 2040 may be the earliest point. And then we have the last thing, which is every year we have a thing called Sail Over, where any Rotarian is welcome to come over to Cowes, either in their own boat or on the Red Funnel or Red Jet, or they can swim if they like, and we have a meal at the Royal Yacht Squadron. So, and that, I don't know what date that is, but if you are interested or you have some friends who are interested, everyone is welcome, literally everyone. We'll just put tables outside, so don't be frightened about coming forward. My colleague Keith would just like to mention one thing, so I think before about Cowes, and then I will proceed with my little presentation.
Thank you very much. Rotaract, this is one for you. We talked about doing the 3 peaks. There is a charity walk on the Isle of Wight on Sunday the 13th of May called Walk the Wight. Now you can catch buses from the ferry across to Southampton, and the buses will take you hither and fro, and you can walk 17.5 miles, or half of that, from Bembridge right through to the other end of the Isle of Wight. It's a fabulous walk. The scenery is superb. I'm sure you would have a great day out, and registration is free, but you have to do it online at Walk the Wight. And if you get sponsorship and monies, that goes to the Mountbatten Hospice on the Isle of Wight. Don't do it for that. If you can get a team together, come over and have a super day on the island. And if you do, we'll see you at the Carisbrook field halfway through, and we'll be able to say hi to you. So think about it and have a day out. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, ladies and gentlemen, on my other hat on now. Okay. My situation is that within I joined Cowes Rotary Club as a result of a project which I presented about a couple of years ago, and someone introduced me to a Rotarian who said this is quite a good idea. come down and talk to us, and one thing led to another. I haven't done much about Roll Out the Barrel, but I have done an awful lot about working with Rotary. So what happened was Thomas came to our club and gave us a very entertaining evening. It was entertaining, and it was even more entertaining because he had to rush out the door to catch the boat. But as he went out at the door, I managed to put one of these in his hand. And unbeknown to me, he then took it back to his club here and made some representations. And again, unbeknown to me, they had a pancake race last Friday. And I don't think there were many people racing, but they did manage to raise some money, for which I'm very grateful. We're all very grateful. Roll Out the Barrel is a very simple project. There's a leaflet as we go out. It normally takes about 15 minutes. I'm going to do this in 3. Essentially what happened is I went to Africa and I saw 4-year-old children walking around with these. I bought this one because of health and safety, but normally they're made of plastic. And they were carrying this on their back. They were dragging it across the ground. They were taking this for 3 or 4 kilometres. And I just couldn't believe it, they were doing that. And it wasn't even their parents, it was these little children. They were collecting it from these wells, they were collecting it from the deep wells that have been sunk by Rotary or other people. And they were also collecting it from, this is the back end of the sand dam. All very laudable projects, but at the end of the day, these children are still collecting this water and walking it miles. And I found this a little bit galling. So what I did was I made some inquiries. I found that what happens with these children is that because they are carrying water, they don't go to school. When they do go to school, they're tired, they fall asleep. They have health problems, their parents have health problems. Women carry it on their heads. These buckets, they actually leak after a while. So when they get home, not only they got hardly any water left in the bucket, but they've had a shower as well. This is a film, but I'm not going to show you this because it will take another 2 minutes. But this is on my website, and it's rolloutthebarrel.org. It's on there. I do urge you just to look at it. It's 2 minutes and 16 seconds of your life, and it could be 40 years of theirs. You've all seen a jerry can. This is what they actually carry. It's not this one here. They carry a plastic one. Sometimes they're just left over some petrol. They've got diesel. They've got chemicals. Watching, I don't need to go too far. And the fact is that they are sometimes not even carrying fresh water. And when they're not carrying fresh water, that is dealt with by rice straw and by aquafilter and by other organisations. The project here is to give them something to transport the water. 74% of all the water that is collected is in fact clean, but not totally drinkable. So what am I offering to these youngsters, or these people in not just Africa, everywhere around the world? I couldn't believe it, everywhere in the world. It's 1.2 billion people have to collect their water like this every single day of their lives. So the trick was, I haven't told these up, the trick was to give them one of these. We've all seen these, or some of them have, they're on caravan sites. And lots of people, we have a thing called IFCR, anybody remember that? It's a caravanning club of Rotary. And they actually sent me a picture of 5 Rotarians pushing these across a field. And I wrote to them and said, can I have your barrels? And they said, certainly. And they raised money as well. So I want to send these barrels off to Africa. That's the difference. I have sent some out. This is a little girl on the right, who's got the traditional way. This is the girl on the left. Just making very obvious statements here, but the number of barrels that it costs £30 for a barrel. I can send a barrel like this anywhere in the world for £30. I have them manufactured in the UK, and the reason for that is purely so we can control the quality of the product. They were coming in from China, they kept falling apart. They came from India, they had carcinogenic stuff in the plastic, so we went back to a UK supplier who sells them to us at cost, literally at cost. Transportation of these is very, very simple now. It was costing a fortune. Now we deal with the National Police Convoys Association, and all we have to do is take them to their compound in Mansfield, and they will ship them anywhere in the world virtually for nothing. The only thing I have to do is wait until that container is going where I want it to. The selection of needs and projects, that's the key here. Rotary is the key. Everywhere in the world there are Rotary clubs, and they're in areas where these problems exist. So what I've been doing for the last year is contacting Rotary clubs around the world, finding out what the problems are. I've only just got to the point now where we know what the problems are, where the most serious ones are, and what we're doing is we're contacting and working with those Rotary clubs, usually, and we ought to use matching funding, foundation funding, and so on. So it's a bit difficult to actually be more specific at this moment. We sent 103 barrels to Uganda. We only sent 2 to Kenya initially, but now 200 are going out. Sierra Leone, 1 went out. They ordered 110 within a week. And in Zambia, in Mafawi, we've actually set up our own project. Now, all of these projects are basically designed to trial the barrel. So we're going to get reports back from paediatricians, from doctors, from educationalists, from government officials, from water people, so that we can compile a proper report to present to our IBI. And our IBI, in the shape of Drew Hughes, are going to take this forward to the committee with a view to making it a Rotary project within about 2 years. So initially, we're making the roads forward. So, how can you help as Rotarians? You can tell your club, that's what I want you to do. I'm not looking for your money, I am, but it's not that important at the moment. As a club, if every club bought 1 barrel, that's 1,800 barrels, that's 1,800 families that don't have to carry that anymore, 1,800 children. But my main thing is, the main thrust is a pass it on campaign. On that leaflet, I just want to tell people, nothing else. Just if they want to do it, they'll contact me. And if they don't, they've got, everyone, it's a busy world, we've all got lives. Some people will be interested, some will not. So, in conclusion, I just want to say that the Brother at the Barrel is not actually a charity yet, but it will be on Friday because our number will be issued. And we intend to give presentations to Rotary clubs all over the country. I'm free to do it, I'm quite happy to do it, I don't charge. This is a boy called Milo. He's 9 years old. He is 9 years old. And he carries that every day. Empty one way, full with back. He goes about 4.2 kilometres. So just to give you a rough idea. This lady will do the same thing. But I gave her a barrel, and that's what she ended up. So that's Brother at the Barrel in a nutshell. It's not the 45-minute presentation, but I hope it gives you an essence of what we would like to do. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ian, for your presentation.
Thank you.
And as we mentioned, we raised money on Friday, last Friday, and we have a check. We raised £63. Allow us to buy 2 barrels, which will be sent to Kenya.
Kenya, yeah, you want to send it? Yeah.
So,
thank you very much indeed. That's what you come for. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You've got that opportunity on Friday. You've got that opportunity on Friday to take a photograph.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. So, I would like to ask now the District Governor Caroline if she could talk to us.
I can't see you actually, I'm meant to talk to you. Thank you very much, Thomas. Good evening, everyone. It's lovely to be here. And I'm feeling so much better than I was earlier today. I've been for a job interview today. Some of you know the term TUPE. I've been tupied into another organisation. I actually had to go for an interview today for another job. So I went through all the rigmarole of, what's your management style, what's your leadership style, all that sort of stuff. And I came away thinking, oh, here we go again. And then I came here. And I'm just feeling so much better than I was earlier today. Because I just think this evening's been absolutely extraordinary. I think that a lot of the time, we are judged by our human capital in Rotary. So what people see is who we are. And I don't have to say any more about that really. But what we do is very sexy. And hearing about some of the things that just to roll out the barrel, which is a brilliant project, and some of the other things that I know Rotary clubs do, they're extraordinarily impressive. And the fact that we are the organisation that gives out more education scholarships than any other organisation in the world brought Thomas and Roland to Southampton. And look what happened. Look what happened when 2 ambassadorial scholars came to Southampton University and they knew, Thomas knew about Rotaract, And they said, hey, you know, we want to do something else. And 30 Rotaractors is pretty impressive. And I'm delighted you've got some Brits there, actually. Because it's very impressive that you've got, how many countries? 16? And that's wonderful. And that's like a little sort of peace scholarship program all on its own, actually. But I'm delighted that Guy has now joined you. And I picked up another name somewhere around. But I'm pleased that you've got some Brits in there. So I think the trick is, how do we capture the sexiness that isn't just the programs they're doing, but it's actually the people themselves? Because wouldn't you agree that the Rotaractors here in this room are extraordinarily attractive? Not just because they look lovely, but also because they all stood up here and told us about themselves without any sort of problem at all. And that was so well organised. How often had you rehearsed? Oh really? No, they just all got up and did what they did when they went to do it. So that's got to be attractive to young people in Southampton. There have to be people out there who would just love to come and join this environment. And if I was only 10 years younger, I'd be here myself. I've got a family. So that's our challenge, isn't it? Particularly the clubs in this area. How do we find some other 18 to 30-year-olds who can come and join this wonderful bunch of people and help them do what they're doing, but also introduce them more to the community and keep the things going, keep the Rotaract Club going, so that other overseas students has come in and can join in as well. And we'd really like to help you do that, because you've done some wonderful things here, and we're terribly impressed. So you tell me, what could you do? Any ideas? What could you do? Come on, you guys from Southampton Club. As I say, I'd join myself.
I'd like to get these guys onto our interact group at work.
Excellent, great.
That would be
That would be brilliant. Okay, appointment with an Interact Club at Wilden, wonderful. I tell you what else you should do is go to Ryler, a little group of you. Go and talk at the Ryler programs, if you're still here in the summer. You haven't disappeared to where you're going, but some of you guys could certainly do that. 2 weekends in July at Avontull, and they can tell you the rest about what they're doing. Any other ideas about what we could do to help build this Rotaract Club?
I don't think they need any.
Sort of, yes.
Sort of.
I have a concern about this, and I know it's probably not what you want to hear, but it's a university. There is a regular change of people every year. We've got a good bunch now. No reason to doubt the next intake, but can we be sure there'll be someone there to take on the mantle when people who want to come in?
That's what we need to do. We need to get exactly local people who will keep it going regularly, so that all these delightful people, when they go, more delightful people can come and enjoy. That's the trick, Nick, and that's what we've got to do.
Yeah. By extension, though, our national colleague mentioned, I think, there is a very small number of Rotaract clubs across the.
Yes, there are. It's gone 1,000 to 67.
Someone who's had a regular involved with the Rotaract for something like the last 20 years, that sadly was greatly, because I know how good it was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
One thing we should be doing is using a successful like this, a club like this one, as an example in areas where we can hopefully find more.
Yeah, definitely. Guy, why has that happened?
I don't really know. I see if Rotaract can only survive if the Rotary clubs are looking after them. Rotaract can't survive on its own. It needs Rotary to flow.
Okay. I should ask the rest of us then.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a daughter who I took along to a Rotaract event. I know Chris did. It'd be fair to say what you said about this group of young people is really good. They are people who I think we could encourage people to come along and mix with. And maybe rather than just, maybe they could be a bit more specific and say we will have an event that we can say on that date there's going to be an event, and they could come along and meet them, because just telling people to turn up on a Saturday They need something a bit more
We need a
positive.
recruitment drive.
Well, just not necessarily a recruitment drop. A taster event. Come along and meet us. Well, because I'm sure I could encourage my daughter. For the moment I mentioned Rotaract, she's going to think of. Yes, I think that she needs to come and see these people because I think they'd be tremendous.
We all know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Actually, we all know what you're saying. And what's so exciting about this group of people here is you are very, very good at advertisements for Rotaract, which is what we need to bottle and do something with. Right. Any other ideas about what we can do? We need a plan.
I mean, it could be pushed in the sixth form colleges, surely.
Yes, it could.
We're the people who are going to come into it.
Yeah, it could be pushed in the sixth form colleges. You could maybe run a conference or something.
Sort of resident associations, Highfield Resident Association is very close.
Highfield Residents Association. Okay.
And there is Nebra, which I'm about to go to next.
Brilliant.
This evening.
Could I ask a question about the? I did notice at the end there that Thomas said they were looking to get new members, and they currently had 30. I mean, is there a limit to how many this club will have?
We can book room for 300 people.
The point I was making is if it's too big, it can't be mentored by a local club.
Well,
And
I think the Southampton clubs are working together pretty well, actually. So I don't think you'd have a problem with that, would you?
what, 300?
No. It's the same as the Isle of Wight clubs work very closely together.
They do, yeah.
The groups in Southampton are working closely together. Any other ideas?
What about a group of 6 joining the Rotaract liaison group?
Okay.
Representative from each of the clubs in group 6, mentoring and working with them.
Okay.
So that all clubs then get involved with all of their projects.
Right. That sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
Just need somebody to pick it up and take it forward. I need a volunteer.
Well, you could get Thomas to go around to every university in the country and start a club.
How many masters do you want? Just a couple more should do it. Nick?
Yeah, I think we shouldn't lose track of the fact that Rotaract is not exclusively about the university.
Absolutely.
In its original form, it was never put to universities. And when I said take it round as an example, I meant take it round as a community generally, not specifically university.
I
Plenty of
think
scope out there and plenty of good young people.
definitely.
Other thing I wanted
It was tongue in cheek.
we've heard Interact touch on a number of times, particularly in property. But it's part of the family of Rotary, you and I both know what that means. As is Rotaract. It seems to me that Interact should be where we're looking for ready-made new members for Rotaract. Because they know what it's all about, they've been in the family of Rotary, they're halfway prepared.
So going to Wilden, and he said that we've got another couple of Rotaract clubs. I've got one on the island. Maybe starting a bit young, kids. Any other ideas?
Well, the Interact people that are going to university, when they're kids in college, we should encourage them and give them support when they go to university to help them set up a Rotaract club there.
And I think we do want to track the 18 pluses in the community here, the ones that aren't at university, the ones that would be very, very pleased to come and join the minority. Okay, does that give us some ideas to be working on with? Excellent. Okay, we just need, I love this idea about setting up a group, somebody from each of the Southampton clubs, to be...
I'd love to do it myself, but I'm not as mobile.
No, I need another volunteer to do something like that. Okay, I need to go out to group 6. Okay. Maybe your new assistant governor.
I'll just say that those 6 hotels that form would then have to liaise with the Rotaract district.
Yes.
Lynette and
Yes.
Nia Arms.
We can do that. I can tell you to do that. For the next 2 months I can tell you to do that. And then Mary will tell me to do that. So, anything
But
else?
yeah, just an observation that if you are trying to attract young people from outside the university, have to think about having meetings outside the university to avoid the
Academic.
the campus fit. The thing, it's always at university. It's a university thing. People in the local community will feel that unless you go out and perhaps have a meeting or two in the community to get away from the thought that it is a university club.
And we can help you with that.
You missed the
Well,
point.
the clubs in Southampton will pay for a bed for you. That's fine.
Yes, absolutely. Lots of clubs out there.
Anything else?
Just to go on your point, that's actually a really good suggestion, because in fairness, I actually thought that the Rotaract Club was a university-based one, which is why I thought that, I wasn't sure whether I was join. Do you remember asking me?
Just transfer to our taping bulk.
I think it's actually
Do it now, go on.
to move it away from
Get them out.
university.
Yeah. Go on. Oh, we've got the trophy. We've got the trophy. Go on, John.
I would say it's our to you to talk to your communities or to your friends and tell them that they can join our clubs, because we can really accept non-students. And we can meet outside the university, but we are still university based, no, from Southampton University. Yeah.
Hello, yes, we were, Magna were one of the co-sponsors of the original local Southampton Rotaract Club. And one of the things we did with them is challenge them each year to 10-pin bowling. We even have a trophy. So why don't we challenge the Rotaract Club to 10-pin bowling, and we'll take you out into the community.
There you go.
Yeah. As long as you don't beat us.
As long as
Some of us can't get down to load of bowling.
When is the exchange? When are they coming over? End of June. Last week in June. So just bear that in mind. Last week in June, they're needing hosts. And just before I finish, and this isn't to do with this Rotaract Club, the last short here is that I'm desperate to find a host for 3 nights for an ambassadorial scholar coming down to do 2 days study from, I think it's Norfolk they're coming. I just need a bed for the night for the 26th, 27th, 28th of this month. And I do it from Salisbury, but that would be a long way to travel. So if anybody could offer a bed for a night for an ambassadorial scholar for 3 nights from Japan, that would be great.
Okay.
Yes?
I don't mind being vague.
Brilliant. Thank you. Could you see me? Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Might be a sumo wrestler. Yeah, might be.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for your inspiring words, and thank you all for your ideas. And now I'd like to ask the rest of all Rotary clubs if you could. We don't have much time, so I would like to ask all clubs if you could say in 1 or 2 minutes what you do, something about your club. Yeah. So we can start, for example, with the this club represented Southampton Magna. Yes, Magna.
Okay, yes. Do you want me to come on?
Yeah.
I'll keep this very, very brief because I know time is close. I'm from Southampton Magna. We're an evening club. We meet every Thursday. We've got 45 active members. We're about to celebrate just this Friday our 30th anniversary, and there's still tickets for that, which is a bit of a plug. We, like most of the clubs in this district, and this will become a common theme, we do lots of events, lots of fundraising. Key things for us, we do a wine tasting evening in November and a vintage car rally in the New Forest in May. The money from that is poured into projects, some of them local, some of them international, some of them big Rotary projects, rodeo, plus all the rest of it. What I think probably we ought to flag in the context of this meeting is what we're doing with education. Somebody mentioned Youth Speaks. Our club sponsors 2 teams of the local Youth Speaks competition. We have members mentoring youngsters in schools, helping them, listening to them read, helping with their reading. Youth, unlocking the potential of youth is an important part of what we do. As I said earlier, we were one of the founding members of the original Rotaract Club, which sadly fell apart, and we're very encouraged that this, speaking personally, I'm very encouraged that this university club, A, has been organised and B, has been reactivated. James and I were at your founding dinner, and we saw this as an important project, and we're delighted you, Thomas, are here to steer it forward. But I do take the point over here that we need more people like you and people from the community to push this forward. And maybe that, so challenging you to 10-pin bowling might just do the trick.
Now Winchester Rotary Club.
Well, actually the short straw, from Winchester. Now, Winchester is a club that Probably some of you will know, we now have, I think, 88 members, 20 women, I think, and we're still rising with the number of women, and an age range from 26 to 86, or even older. So it's a very broad-ranging club with a lot of interest, a lot of activities. Rotaract in Winchester has been something we've been familiar with since something like the late 70s, and Nick Bell, who is going to be our president in a year and a half's time, is one of the founding members, I think, of the Rotaract in Winchester. Sadly, it hasn't been running for the last 2 or 3 years. I think when I was president of the club, we had about 3 or 4 members, but I'm really excited by the support that Thomas has given to the project that we've got at the moment to restart a Rotaract club based on Winchester University, and that's really going to be exciting. Rotary in Winchester, as I say, has been around since 1927. We've celebrated our 80th anniversary some years ago. We're now actively restarting the Clarendon Marathon, which we hope to raise over £10,000 this year. We already raise money through a swimathon each year for local charities. We support a number of youth projects through Young Carers, Winchester Youth Counselling, and various other projects like that. We hope to be supporting the Young Chef competition. And we've also take the children from the local disabled school, as many of you do, on the Kids Out day at Fortons Park. But our programmes are broad and quite extensive. We've got a new member who is started a charity, Ugandan Education, and we're supporting that. We're also helping through our fellowship with the Calcutta Club, through helping with building a new eye facility at the Hoopley Eye Hospital. So that's a new matching grant project we're working. But most importantly, we support Polio Plus. We're very keen to do that, and we've been very successful with the money we've raised to help with the latest final push for that final inch. But really the water has been a big thing, and we raised $55,000 through a matching grant, $55,000, to help with a new water storage facility for a very arid part of the Rajasthan, state of Rajasthan in India, and that project is just coming to a conclusion now, and we've got other projects we're looking at in Africa and in India as well. So we're a very broad-ranging club. We're very keen to support Rotaract again in Winchester, and thank you, Thomas, for your stimulation and enthusiasm. And the important thing just to mention is that we do have the commitment of the university to this. We've got 2 key members of the management staff at the university, the Director of Internationalisation and their Student Liaison Counsellor, who are committed to helping us do that. And I would just say to anybody who is keen to get Rotaract started, if you can find an organisation that is going to help sponsor that or take ownership for that, then that's a great way to do it. Thank you.
I would like to ask Rotary Club of Southampton, our sponsor, Rotary Club.
Thank you, Thomas. Conrad Wallane, who came here primarily to sell Gardener's Fair, but you've done it for us. I'm going to be a lot shorter than other people. We all get involved in things. We bring old people along to the theatre here. We're involved in various youth projects, including mock trials which are taking place in the Crown Court in a week or 2, and we've got help from one of the other town clubs there. But Gardener's Fair, we're going to have help from Rotaract Club. It's on the 3rd of June, opposite Southampton Parkway Station. I hope you'll all come. All of those over 60 come in for £3. Anyone else is going to come in for £4. And we give you a free programme which tells you all about Rotary and what Rotary does for you. And we hope to raise somewhere in the region of £9,000 to £10,000. Brilliant.
We have Southampton West. Southampton West.
On my way back from Florida.
Yes, sorry now.
No commitment.
I'm going to be shorter than Conrad. Nigel Richards from Southampton West. It gives me great pleasure to be here at the Rotaract meeting, because that's where I started in Rotaract in Southampton. I was in Southampton West Rotaract Club for 3 years. And it's a great shame the way that Rotaract has nosedived over the years. We had 3 very active clubs in Southampton. This is going back a few years now. But Southampton, Southampton West, Bitton and Walston on the other side of it, Eastleigh. We had tremendous fun, but we did a lot in the community. And I think Rotary should be the same in terms of what it does, but having fun while you're doing it. So I would just urge everybody who is a member of Rotaract just to have fun and enjoy it. It makes life an awful lot easier. As far as our club is concerned, we are an offshoot of the main Southampton club. We're quite small in Rotary. We've got 22 or 23 members at the moment. We're a lunchtime club and meet at the Concord Club in Eastleigh. We do what we can, and sometimes I'm actually quite surprised at what we do given the age profile of our membership. And I'm very proud to be a member of Rotary, and Rotary in Southampton particularly. One of the things that we're looking at now, and I'm sure representatives of other clubs will say something, but because we're small and because we have an ageing membership, we are looking to increase working with other Rotary clubs within the area, and Southampton in particular, and also Eastleigh, so that we can combine and make better use of our strengths, and I think that is the way forward for a lot of Rotary clubs. But I just like, on behalf of Southampton West, to wish the Rotaract Club of Southampton University all the best for the future.
Now, Bishop Swartham, Rotary Club,
Nigel Barnfield, Bishop Swartham Rotary Club and Past Governor, and with the delightful opportunity that I had 2 years ago of actually presenting these guys or the Southampton University Rotaract Club with their charter. It was a great evening, and I'm delighted that Thomas has been able to re-establish the Rotaract Club, and I'm also pleased that there are students here that will hopefully take that forward into their future years at Southampton University and encourage others to follow through afterwards. I think some of the things that we've talked about as to how Rotary can support you guys, and much of that is getting the word out and about, telling our families, helping you with your publicity within the university and all those sorts of things. I think those are the things that we as Rotarians can be doing. But we can also be taking the message out to other Rotary clubs. We've heard from Colin about Winchester and the work that they're doing with Winchester University. Hang on a minute, there's Portsmouth University. I'm sure that there are similar facilities up at Basingstoke. I don't think there's a university up there, but they must have colleges of education and that sort of thing. So we need to be getting amongst these young people and telling, when I say we, I'm talking about the Rotarians, and we can take Rotaractors from Southampton perhaps and show them what we're doing down here. As a Rotary Club in Bishop Swartham, we're a small village, 12 miles out of Southampton. We're 37 strong, we meet on a Thursday evening, and we do all the things that you've been hearing about. But perhaps our big project, two big projects coming up. The first is on the 9th of June, we've got a carnival and fete in Bishop Swartham. We would like to think that we're going to raise about £10,000 as a result of that. And then on the 22nd of July, we have a 5-mile road race, and it's in miles and not in kilometres. We insist on being a little bit different to all these 5 kilometres and 26.2 miles. So we're doing just a 5-mile, but it does include a hill that takes you for a mile upwards and a mile downwards. So those guys that are doing the three peaks, you should be quite fit enough and perhaps able to partake in that. But that's something that is coming up on the 22nd of July. I'd just like to congratulate you on the organisation of the evening, and I wish the Rotaract Club every success for the future.
Yes, of course. Yes, could you tell us?
Thank you so much.
Please, briefly.
Right, it will be brief. I'm Alan Williams, I'm president of the Southampton Southampton, and there are two of us here tonight. Nick and myself, and despite our youthful appearance, we are in fact founder members of the club, which has been going on for nearly 25 years. This year, in fact, we've been commemorating our 25th anniversary. Over the 25 years, we've been involved in a lot of projects, a number of projects. For example, we've organised international veterans rugby festivals. We've been involved with another club locally, Chelmsford, with our Model World. But focusing on what we've been doing over the past year, or this year, we started with fellowship with our charter night, which we all do. Very successful quiz night in November, an ancient quiz. A race night in February, which was a galloping success. We're currently working with one of our, being the smallest club in the district. We realised at the beginning of the year we must join up with other clubs on our projects, and that is what we are doing. We're developing a project at the moment which maybe we could in fact capitalise on your energy on this to some extent. It's a walking project, walking quite some distance, and we've done one trial walk already, or some of us. I only did part of it a few days ago, but we could tell you a bit about that. It's a project we're working on with Southampton West and Eastleigh, which will be launched next year, but we're going through the process at the moment. Kids Out, we're also involved at the moment with helping out Bursledon House, which is on the Southampton General Hospital complex, which helps young people. And Oakoff, which is Our Children, Our Future, we're still heavily involved there. And we also have an interesting array of speakers. We have a sort of, in 2 weeks' time, on the 2nd of May, you may be interested, we have our speakers evening is on international and disaster response. And we have two speakers, a representative of Hampshire Fire and Rescue coming to speak to us, who was sent to Haiti, to New Zealand, and also to Japan after the tsunami. And the second speaker that evening was sent out by the Red Cross to Japan to deal with the situation there. And we've supported numerous organisations. Now I bring you an array of leaflets about our club, so I won't dwell any more. Can I just finish off by just saying I'm reminded a little bit, occasionally I visit Geneva for my job, and I spent some time working there a few years ago. And every morning I get on a bus from the airport to travel down to where I was going to be that day, through the campus, which, with an array of different nationalities, different buildings, NGOs, global organisations, whether they're health organisations or whatever. And I've seen that reflected in what I've seen here this evening. That feel-good factor that I always felt if I'd sit down for a cup of coffee or whatever at a bar at the Palais des Nations or one of the other locations, I'd sit around there and I'd soon end up in a conversation with somebody, basically from an international organisation. And it lifted the spirits in very much the same way as it's lifted my spirits this evening to meet all of you. Thank you very much.
The last stop is H&M Breakfast.
I won't force everyone to stand. Is that okay, by Hi, Andy Grace, H&M Breakfast. I'm not sure if most of your members actually know. We meet at 7 o'clock. I don't know whether you know 7 o'clock. Judging by my children, there's only one 7 o'clock in the day, and that's the evening. Very impressed by what you've done today and what you've done with the club. Thank you very much. I would love you to come along and speak to the local Interact Club. And we are also, I've been co-opted onto our membership committee. We'd like to get out into our local community and be seen giving back something to our community. We have to put money all the time from them. I want to be seen giving something back where is our close by. Sorry, my notes. I think that's it really. Oh, the other thing was, yes, I went to the conference last week, and what an excellent conference it was. Thank you very much, Caroline. And I actually sat with Richard Wandel, I think he's here today. Hi, Richard. And Janine Whistle. And I don't know how she did it, but by the end of the first bottle of wine, I found myself co-opted onto the foundation committee. And the next day she said, oh, I've got a job for you to liaise with one of our ambassadorial scholars who's leaving the country, called Becky, who I happen to be sitting next to tonight, quite by chance. So I'm very pleased to be doing that, and look forward to liaising with you and finding out what I've got to do.
I'd like to thank you all. Thank you all for your contribution. I hope you enjoyed this meeting. It was excellent to have you all here, and I hope that next year we may organize this meeting again. And now the official part is finished, and we have time for food and fellowship. But before starting, I would like to ask you all to come here, and we will take photo of all of us. So thank you very much.
I'm not sure if I want my photo taken. No, I don't think I can hear the sound of this.